Hello and welcome to the Council. My name is Luke Anthony Walsh, and joining me is the Judge Judy to my Judge Rinder, Mr. Michael Brown. Welcome, Michael.
Hello there. I'm a bit nervous. I've never been on the internet before, so I'm happy to. Hi, Luke. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Finally, we collaborate on a project together. It's only taken me
Yes.
about 107 messages to get it. Welcome to the Council. We will be counselling your council issues, and we will be discussing them and trying to provide some sort of decisive action on whether your issues should stay in society or just damn right cancelled.
So that's good. But first of all, I think we need to talk about our own issues, Luke. Our own
Yes.
beefs. So what's your beef today, Luke?
Today, Michael, my beef is it's Christmas related.
Oh,
It's anyone who produces a rendition of Old Lang Syne that is not British. Because Michael, we may not be having New Year's Eve as such this year. There won't be any
mm,
fireworks to be seen. However, whenever I see anyone on, so that they show all the clips from around the world and edit it,
mm.
and you hear some horrendous renditions of Old Lang Syne from Malaysia and
It's cultural.
India
It's cultural appropriation,
and
Luke.
America, and they don't even do it justice. It's just an absolute horror show. And renditions like that would make Robbie Burns himself turn in his grave. They are that terrible. Um,
Wow.
so I would like to cancel foreign renditions of Old Lang Syne.
Oh, hold on, Luke. You're gonna hate me because I do the most annoying thing in the world, which is I sing a lot of Christmas carols to the tune of Old Lang Syne. So just I wanna run this by you. You can tell me if you think it's good or not. So while shepherds watch their flocks by night, all seated on the ground, the angel of the Lord came down and glory shone around. Fear not, said he, for mighty dread, etc., etc. Is that pretty
Not
good?
bad, not
Yeah, I know.
bad.
Yeah,
You got a fine
yeah.
pair of pipes on you, but do you know? I was half expecting you to come out with the Millennium Prayer like Cliff Richard produced in 1999. But yeah, when you hear these horrific renditions, and I don't know who has it worse, like Southeast Asia or America.
I,
Um,
I don't really understand how Old Lang Syne became like this New Year's Eve thing because it's just about some random Scottish place.
yeah, and it's as much associated with Burns Night in the middle of 25th of January than it is to do with New Year's Eve. But I
Mm.
sort of like the sentimental value of it all, of bringing people together at the start of a brand new year. But yeah, I just can't stand when they make an absolute horse of it all.
Yeah. At this point, you think maybe it should be one of those things. You know, like with Jesus on the subject of Christmas, you get like different cultures show Jesus in their own way. Like, Africa, they show Jesus as black. In Asia, they show Jesus as Asian. Like maybe they should come up with their own. I mean, maybe you'll disagree with this, but I almost feel like it would be better if they took their own tunes, or sorry, their own songs, their own lyrics, and applied them onto the tunes. So you just got Chinese people on, I guess they probably aren't celebrating New Year's when we'd celebrate New Year's, but maybe we'll say Southeast Asians singing kind of their own little Vietnamese tunes to Old Lang Syne. Would that not be, because then you'd be like, well, at least they're making it their own rather than stealing our thing.
It's interesting, but yeah, I'm still standing by my argument.
No,
I'm
yeah,
not
no,
doing
yeah.
that.
Okay,
Like,
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'd say it's pretty bad. I mean, I guess the only thing is, so you said not British, so would that include America? Because I don't think did you
yes,
mention America?
yeah, exclusively British artists can sing Old Lang Syne.
Okay,
So
but what
yeah,
about crowds of people on New Year's Eve? Are they counted as
that's
artists?
different.
Okay,
That's
okay,
different. What we're talking about
okay. I
is
see.
we're not talking about crowds singing it. We're talking about artists, and you get this, always get it on the tannoy. I know Slade do a version that's heard in London each year, which is
Yeah.
actually a good version. Um, Susan Boyle does a version. Rod Stewart does a great version.
Hmm.
Um, but anyone outside of Britain who understands who Robbie Burns is. But basically, that's the qualifier. If you know who Robbie Burns is and you know exactly what the lyrics mean, then you should be allowed to sing it. Unfortunately, that's just a very, very British thing to do. So
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the song, it's one of those songs that's grown beyond itself, and now it's just where do you go from there? It's it's like, and that's the problem with traditions in general. They start off and then they just eventually become traditions. And like you say, that's why lots of people they don't even know what it's got to do with New Year's Eve. And like you say, it doesn't really have anything to do with New Year's Eve. So yeah, I would say that's a pretty good thing to cancel, Luke. But what I want to cancel, it's an obvious one. I'll admit, it's a very typical one, but it's people celebrating Christmas in November. It's fine. Like we're getting close, and I'm kind of sympathetic. Okay, this is the thing. I'm sympathetic on one count, and this is the only thing. I think I can understand people celebrating it the Sunday before December 1st. And the reason why I say that is because people maybe want to be putting up their Christmas decorations on a day off. So it will be like, so obviously, if they're working during the week, they're probably not going to want to be celebrating if the 1st of December is in on Wednesday. They're not going to want to be decorating their house on Wednesday. So fine, okay, if someone's celebrating Christmas today when they, it's a Sunday, they've got the full day, that's fine. But I drove past, this was in like the middle of November, driving past someone's house, and they had Christmas lights up then. And I was just like, what are you doing? Like this is, and it's mental because Christmas gets like a whole month. That's not an unreasonable amount of time to have. You think about it, we've got 12 months. Christmas gets a whole month to itself, and there are some people out there who are just like, nope, it's not enough. It needs more. And worse still is the fact we've already got some stuff going on in November. We've got Guy Fawkes Night, we've got Remembrance Sunday. It's like basically I don't like the mentality of like, okay, that's it. Soldiers died, so that's all done.
It's Christmas time, baby.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's but yeah, so it's a very obvious one. It's one that everyone likes to complain about, but I'm going to throw it out there.
Okay, so I have one sort of qualifier to that in that 2020 has been a really terrible year.
Okay,
it continues to be a terrible year. And there is a lot of joy and a lot of positivity and a lot of Christmas cheer that comes around when decorations go up, when lights go up, when music starts playing in the shops. Is that it makes you feel a little bit better about yourself and improves your well-being. So I think for this year, for 2020, it is perfectly acceptable.
That's however, I like that idea.
However, I completely agree with you. I think any other time where it's a normal thing, we should be forced to wait till December the 1st and not one day sooner than that, because it is a bit ridiculous and it spoils the season. I mean, it's as bad as having more than one Christmas lunch or Christmas dinner before the 25th of December. It spoils the tradition altogether. And I think the phase becomes sort of a corporate get together is utterly ridiculous in my opinion.
No, yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like I don't like how these, and it would be so easy to do. Basically, these companies produce Christmas adverts so early, and you think, in the UK, we don't believe in the whole free speech thing that they have in America. We're very happy to have our governments police a lot of things. You're not allowed to deny the Holocaust. You're not allowed to tweet racist things on Twitter. And I think, given that we're, dealing with all those things which, are unimportant, can't we make it so you're not allowed to produce a Christmas advert? Like basically the companies can all, okay, so like with the Super Bowl in America, one of the big things like the Super Bowl adverts come out. What if we had like a rule? I actually think the companies could get behind this, all the Christmas adverts have to wait until the 1st of December. And then basically all of the Christmas adverts would all come out at once, and the companies would make sure, okay, we've got to make sure we've got a great Christmas advert, instead of just getting what you end up with, which is just a kind of lame rolling in, in at the beginning of November. You just start to see a couple of, I like the idea of it kind of being, so I kind of, definitely don't start celebrating until 1st of December. But the other thing I like is the idea that once you start celebrating 1st of December, you just go for full in. Yeah, go in. Like Christmas all the time.
Get in.
Only Christmas songs on the radio.
But then equally, you said a very commercial point there, in that it the rule of thumb is around Black Friday, isn't it? It's the Americans sort of bringing the
Yes, yeah.
idea that once Thanksgiving is over, that Christmas has actually begun. That's the starting pistol. And certainly over the past 6-7 years, we've seen Britain sort of subscribe, then immediately unsubscribe to that philosophy. But yeah, I think it is a bit mad how people decide it should start in November. So
yeah.
With the exception of 2020, I consider starting Christmas in November cancelled.
But I guess the good news is that, unlike with Auld Lang Syne, anybody, regardless of where they're from, is allowed to celebrate Christmas.
Yeah,
except for the Jews.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Muslims. Yeah, Muslims. They hate Christmas. They're always like. There was this. I saw this thing actually last Christmas. I think no one's talking about Muslims nowadays. But last Christmas, I saw this thing on Facebook, and it was like from a Muslim group. I don't know how. I think it was like advertised, which is weird. But it was like, did you know that Christians don't even know that Jesus was born on the 25th of December, that they celebrate it anyway? And it's kind of like, yeah, because that's like, there's nothing wrong with celebrating things, just like choosing a day. So it's the good thing to do. Like, that's the thing, I like the idea. I like the fact that it's like, basically, I mean, it kind of gets to what you were saying, that the reason we celebrate Christmas is because it's dark and it's rubbish. That's kind of why I feel sorry for Australians. But yeah, like, it's dark and it's rubbish, so you celebrate Christmas, and it's perfect. But the next thing we should be doing now is looking at what our listeners and our viewers are cancelling. And we do have technically listeners and viewers, because we do have 8 subscribers right now. But unfortunately, nobody's emailed in yet. No. We're not too angry about it, are we?
But Michael, if they wanted to get in touch and find out whether their issues will be cancelled by their judge, jury, and executioner, meaning us, where should they get in touch with us?
They should get in touch with us at Cancel Council. That's CANCELCOUNCILYT @gmail.com.
You've been working on that.
I came up with it on the spot. I mean, I came up with, we were talking about it earlier, and I did come up with one, and then I completely abandoned it. So, like, I did come up with one that included all the words. I think the thing about jingles is that I think you can't have too many letters. So maybe if we would have gone for a slightly more modest sized name, it would have been better. But yeah, basically that's where you can get in contact with us. So yeah, right now
you can also follow us on Twitter and on Instagram at CouncilYT. That is spelled CANCELCOUNCIL.
Yeah, it does work.
It does work. We do get there in the end. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear what your gripes are, and we can judge them for you.
Yeah.
Time for one more.
Oh, actually, I've got a question. Can you copyright jingles? Because I really like the idea. Like so what I was thinking is, moonpig.com. Like so you have the first bit, and you just got YT@gmail. Like moonpig.com. So I like the idea. Basically, our jingle would be some kind of horrible Frankenstein of lots of other people's jingles. like COU, let's say CANCELCOUNCILYT@gmail. Anyway, that's my plan.
Time for one more round of cancellings.
Since no one else is here.
Seeing as I went first time round, it is your pick on whether you should be cancelled.
I think it's a real challenge to come up with a great one. But what I really wanted to go for, honestly, and this might seem, again, I felt like I'm going for the kind of uncontroversial ones, but I just felt like saying it, Luke. I want to cancel coronavirus.
Ooh.
It's the worst one. No, basically it's I think basically my issue with coronavirus is not about all the deaths and stuff. It's just about it makes everything worse. Like Halloween, and I think it's got worse now that we've had these I guess this period of festivities, because obviously from basically Halloween onwards is when it's getting really exciting. Like we had Halloween was shit. We had bonfire night was shit. We had Diwali. I mean, I'm not personally, I know you might be surprised to hear I'm not a Hindu, but I still, I feel sorry for the Diwali people. So we had all these holidays and stuff. and it was all just marred by the fact that we had to stay inside. And it's kind of funny because in some sense it's like, well, it's nice to stay inside in when it's dark and cold and stuff. But then also it's sort of like, well, the thing that makes staying inside on a nice like warm toasty evening in winter is that it's a choice. I don't like being forced. No one likes being forced.
What I found interesting about the lockdown is that, depending on sort of your own individual situation, like, a lot of people actually benefited a lot from it. I mean, certainly from my perspective, I had a job that paid me full pay, plus average pay. I was working on my degree, and I've got an Xbox One, I've got a PS4, I've got everything I could possibly need at such a time. So for me, I enjoyed the time off, and I enjoyed the sort of the rest and relaxation. Whereas for others, I know, and I'm not bragging as much, but I know that for others, it's really torn people apart. It's taken away loved ones far too soon. It's really destroyed people.
Yeah, and we hate inequality. That's what we're really against here. It's not just that. It's like, it's one of those annoying things. Like, basically, I like things where everybody is equally hurt. Like, that's my favorite thing. My favorite thing in the world, not when everyone's equally happy, when everyone's equally miserable. Because when everyone's equally miserable, it's kind of you come together. But what I don't like is when people are unequally miserable. That's the worst kind of misery. Like, that's kind of how I felt about like Brexit, with the whole the idea that there were some people who had jobs that were really reliant on the EU. So it was basically, and that's the thing, like, I feel like that's why democracy is just terrible, because it means that there's always going to be division in society. Everyone's always miserable all the time. So I don't have a solution. No. As Winston Churchill once said, it's the worst form of government, except all the others that have been tried. So you'll have to wait until next week when we cancel democracy.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Brexit will be a one for a future episode. Certainly going into January 2020, we'll find out. Sorry, January 2021, whether how much of a stranglehold it will take on our society. But coronavirus is officially cancelled by the council.
Yes. What are you cancelling, Luke?
I am cancelling, and this is another unpopular one. I am cancelling not only the PlayStation 5, but the Xbox Series X. For the sole reason that we don't need them just yet. I think.
Yeah.
I've subscribed to the theory that what the current gen of consoles are, and I'll talk about Steam in a second. Is more than just a games console. It's a home entertainment system. I could turn on my Xbox right now and put on Netflix, or put on Disney Plus, or put on a whole array of media content at a click of a couple of buttons. So the idea that we need to update and go into the next generation isn't necessarily as big a jump as we were in 2013, when the PS3 and the Xbox 360 were replaced by the Xbox One and the PS4.
Yeah, I mean,
sort of coming on to Steam as well, is that there's a lot more PC gaming now than there's ever been.
Yeah, but yeah, basically, and I think I kind of agree with you. I mean, I'm not much of a gamer, as the kids are saying, but I do think that it's like, for me personally, I actually ignored the PlayStation 4. Like, I still got a PlayStation 3, and it's kind of like, it's surprising the PlayStation 5's already out. It kind of, I guess this is what feels weird about it. It's like, it's strange when a whole nother console has come out while we're still waiting for the next Grand Theft Auto, Like, the last Grand Theft Auto came out when it was the PlayStation 3. It came out on the PlayStation 3. And literally, like, it's weird to me that a whole completely new console for playing games has come out before one of the most, popular game franchises of all time has actually released another installment. I mean, I know they've released kind of, like, updates and stuff, but not a main franchise thing.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It seems like, it feels like games are released kind of, obviously because they take a huge amount of effort, are released on a slightly less regular basis. It's not like, with especially like proper full-on high budget games, because obviously, like films, they get released all the time. Music gets released loads because all you need is like to sing. Films, okay, you need like a camera crew and stuff. Games, you need like story writers, digital artists. You need the programmers and stuff. So these games get released very irregularly. So it's kind of like you've only released like 5 games, guys. Can we not have the another console yet?
It's true, and I think that there is a lot to be said for the industry. Is that the rule of thumb? It sort of comes down to the AAA titles, and that we've seen Red Dead Redemption come out a couple of years ago. We've seen, like you said, GTA 5 will be available. I think one of the very few games that has been available on three generations of console. And yeah, it's interesting because going into 2021, a lot of people saying, well, yeah, it's the load time and the graphics and this and that. Well, is that what we need? And besides that, we're missing the elephant in the room, in that we are getting digital editions of consoles, meaning there'll be a lot more digital content. There'll be fewer physical copies sold, I believe, and I think it'll really shape the next 10 or 15 years of games consoles.
Yeah, 100%. I think you're right, and I think a shout out to your Let's Play channel, of course. Where you do your hardcore gaming. No, yeah, I mean, see, the funny thing is, here's me sat here, moved house recently. I still haven't set up my PlayStation 3. I've just been playing my PlayStation 2 emulator on my laptop for the last year because my PlayStation 3 has just been moved over to this house, and everyone's talking about PlayStation 5. I'm like working backwards. It's pretty embarrassing, and still haven't made my way through all the Harry Potter games that were released back in the day for PlayStation 2, all that stuff. So yeah, hopefully, well, I don't know. It kind of feels weird because it seems like nowadays, remember when it used to just be like all the video games would just be based on films and stuff? Like it was like you'd be like, oh, it's a Star Wars video game, Lord of the Rings video game. Now it's like video games. I don't think you see that as much anymore. Just like video games based on films. It's always like video games now are just their own thing, which I guess is nice. They've kind of
or we say films being made about video games, like we've seen the Resident Evil films.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Assassin's Creed, I think, is in development. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Oh well, there's I mean, there's
the Super Mario film.
yeah, Super Mario film. Yeah, it's weird because obviously you do think about Tetris. I don't know, Tetris, like an art house film about Tetris. Resident Evil is the big one. And the thing is, Resident Evil is the one that started off with the idea they're all bad. Silent Hill, actually, as well. Like, basically, I think a lot of the horror games, people try and... I'm surprised they haven't made a Dead Space. Maybe they have. You never know. Like, I feel like the thing is, weirdly, a lot of these successful games, I imagine they just make terrible low-budget versions of them. Because, yeah. Anyway, so basically, yeah, we've gone full circle now. There's no more video games based on films, but plenty more films based on video games, which is lovely. Anyway, I've kind of got 2 things for you. The first one's a bit of a mild one, but I saw it and I found it funny. Are you familiar with the internet personality Belle Delphine?
Oh, we're going here, boy. We're going here, boy. Yes, I am well aware of Miss Belle Delphine.
So yeah,
should I talk about it or should you?
You should talk about it, Luke, because I understand you are a simp. Is that correct? You've been going to Simps Anonymous for a while.
As somebody who is down with the YouTube culture, it's just been announced this week that on Christmas Day, everything that every teenage lad between the ages of about 13 to about 16, I'm sure women too, may find it interesting. Belle Delphine will release a sex tape on OnlyFans, and not only even that, she's going to be selling the condom that is used in said video.
Oh no, I didn't know that. Oh dear. Okay, so it's a good thing you spoke about it because oh wow, that's crazy. Like it's just I do find it funny. It's like there were lots of I was looking through some of the comments. There were lots of people saying like that this was a very serious step in the wrong direction, which I think you can agree with. But the thing is, the funny thing is, it's not as if she's been doing this thing. This is all she does, right? She's just like really sexual. Basically, the only thing now, I guess, is there's more honesty to it. So if anything, that's a that's a positive.
What I find fascinating is that it all kicked off in 2019 with her videos on Instagram and on TikTok, and she
Yeah.
attract widespread analysis from YouTubers such as Will and E and Memulus and
Yeah.
and all those guys. And she's made an awful lot of money. Like, don't get me wrong, she has. There's a reason why she gave Will and E a Fiat 500 emblazoned with her name and a vial of her blood. I mean, she has done a lot of stupid things, but she is one extraordinarily smart woman.
No, yeah, I mean, basically, it's kind of interesting because I was thinking about how I feel like it used to be the way that people would particularly like one of the there's always like these trends with women, like you remember, like obviously in the 2000s there was like the whole Avril Lavigne punk girl thing, and
Yeah,
that was kind of the alternative
the skater
form of
boy.
expression. Yeah, like yeah, that was the alternative form of expression for young women. And then kind of when you got sort of the rise of, I guess, gamer girls, and also I'm thinking about like Scott Pilgrim versus the World, where you've got these the idea of the girl is just like she's too cool for school, and she's got piercings, probably does loads of drugs. That was all cool, and now we kind of moved on to the Belle Delphine school of thought, which is, or should I say, school of thought? Am I right? No, yeah, which is basically, I don't know, it's kind of trying to be cute. I guess the thing is, this was inevitable. It all started with the whole daddy thing, didn't it? Like
Yeah.
when everybody started saying like, oh, blah de blah's a daddy, Obama's a daddy, uh, Trump's a daddy. It was inevitable that you were going to get like it was just going to become normalized for a woman to just make a career out of acting like a sexy baby.
Yeah.
And that's the that's basically it. Like we moved on to, and the worst thing is though, where's it going to go? Where's the next step? We've gone from like Avril Lavigne skater girl punk thing to kind of slightly alternative, probably listens to Death Grips, to now we've gone to like cute baby. Who knows? I feel like this is the thing. Okay, this is what I've realized. I just realized it. Next thing is going to be mainstream furries. Like the next Belle Delphine is going to be a furry. You disagree?
I mean, I don't even know where to start or end with that discussion, because she is an enigma to herself, and nobody can really.
Yeah, I think the crazy thing about it though, she just wears like I mean, she's fine looking, but like basically all it is it's just makeup and facial expressions. Like when you think about it, like 99% of what supposedly makes her attractive, I guess it's kind of nobody could have seen this coming. I mean, they put up that statue of Mary Wollstonecraft recently, and actually that's another thing we talk about. But yeah, basically, they put up the statue, and I think the women's rights activists of the day, they never could have seen that all a woman would need to do in the future is it's not even about makeup now. It's just about pulling a stupid face, like basically, because that's it. And I guess the other thing is it's anime, isn't it? Like anime introduced the idea of oh, if you pull a stupid face, that's attractive, which it doesn't work with men. So I think that's the real inequality. Like you've never ever seen a guy like go cross-eyed and stick their tongue out and be like, "Oh, that's hot," but like a woman does it, and I was like, "Oh, wow." Shit.
I think the main takeaway from this is 3 points. Number one, like in the past, since YouTube became a thing in 2005, we've seen it evolve and morph into what it is today. I mean, at time of recording, we've just seen Jake Paul knock out a former NBA player in the second round of a boxing match. And of course, we've seen KSI Logan Paul last December. We've seen, PewDiePie reach over 100 million subscribers, which is close enough, over the population of numerous countries combined. And we've seen it change on so many different ways. Number two, we've seen the internet become way more sexualized. As YouTube is one of the most popular sites, Pornhub is also close behind it, and obviously with OnlyFans, and we've seen obviously now Belle Delphine now going to record a sex tape, and I think finally, the world is such a different place, and I think I guess we in a future episode we can discuss about gender equality and sort of where a man and a
Mm.
woman sits in today's society. But you know, 2020's been strange enough, but now we're getting a Belle Delphine sex tape.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to be fair, like I had no idea she was even old enough. Like that would be the real twist. Like no one even just like I like the idea that she's actually 30 or something. No one knew. No, she's probably like I don't know. People probably know loads about her. I didn't even know she was British until I heard her voice. So yeah, I guess that's a good piece of news. Apparently sometimes British people can be attractive. Who would have thought that?
Who
Uh
would have thought it?
but yeah, the only other news really is that Donald Trump is keeps spending money to secure more comfortable victories for Biden in states. Basically, every single time I hear Donald Trump trying to get a recount, the results come in and Biden has got more votes, which is pretty funny. Although I do think it's pretty embarrassing for America that apparently it's almost guaranteed that if you have a recount, they will find out that they got it wrong. And it's kind of like that's probably a problem in itself. I don't know. Does that happen in the UK as much? That it's just like people do a recount and it turns out they announced the totally wrong result last time.
Well, it's fascinating that a lot of British people and a lot of widespread media across both sides of the Atlantic have compared the electoral systems and how well you actively took part in covering the general election last Christmas, and that
Mm.
we count every single vote by hand,
Yes, like
um,
heroes.
and we verify everything, and that's how we produce a result. Whereas in America, as soon as the polls close, they can make a projection and say,
Yeah, they're
right,
just like, oh, I don't know.
these, and we're not even talking about the electoral college
No,
for
yeah,
another day.
yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting that Donald Trump is getting closer to conceding defeat. Um, but yeah, it's a whole different world, and it's funny that in a world of coronavirus and everything else, Donald Trump is very low down on the pecking order of priority.
No, yeah, yeah, exactly. He's like like it's really funny. I think in general, there's lots of things that have happened where I sort of think it's crazy that they happened when the coronavirus was going on. Because when you think about it, we've had like three big things. One, this massive election. Two, Black Lives Matter.
Mm.
Three, and I think this one will never not be funny to me. Like I find this so funny. The Islamic terrorist attacks. Remember there were like five of them or something in a row in like
Mm.
France, and it was like I don't know, like so some people got their head chopped off in a cathedral, and then there was
Mm.
like another like five of them in a row, and I was like, imagine doing all of that, like these people, these jihadists or whatever, go to all this effort to like kill somebody,
Mm.
have to go to prison, all that stuff, and no one even notices. Like basically, in any other year, that would have been huge news. Like, oh
Mm.
man, there were like five terrorist attacks in France. That's crazy. But no, instead it's just like yeah, so a bunch of people got beheaded in France. Yeah, in other news, Donald Trump. Like basically everything is too much going on. So I would say, I guess if I had another, canceling thing, it would be for those jihadists being so stupid. Like at least, like, because do you remember? I feel like terrorism has just been getting worse and worse and worse.
Mm.
Because I don't know, you started off with well, Islamic terrorism. You had 9/11. That was like the peak. Like that was a really good job, and then
Yeah.
you had like 7/7 and the 2004 Milan bombings. Those were pretty impressive. And then eventually it just became, oh, I just run up to someone and chop their head off. And now we've reached a point where it's kind of just like, oh, what are they doing? Oh, chopping
Mm.
someone's head off. Typical. Basically, that's the thing. They need to come up with. I guess Belle Delphine is the standard. You've got to come up with new ideas. Go to new places.
Mm.
So, where's the where's the jihadi sex tape?
Oh God, what
So,
sort of rabbit hole have we delved down here?
no, I don't know. But basically, yeah, it's So that's the news really. That yeah, it's
Mm.
been such a crazy year that in a way you could almost say we've in 2016 it was post truth. I feel like now it's post news. Like
Yeah.
there's not really any news anymore
Mm.
because everything is news. So
Yeah.
it's all just canceling each other out, which is
Yeah.
brilliant. Love it. Anyway, that's wow. That's
That
kind of
that's really it for our debut episode of the Council.
Yeah.
Feel free to like, subscribe, and comment your views on what we've discussed today. We'd love to hear from you, and certainly we'd love to hear from you if you email councilYT. That's CANCELCOUNCIL.
YT at
at
Gmail.
gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at council YT. We'll be able to have a chat with you and get your suggestions for next week. We look forward to hearing from you. Until then, as per, I've been the Council Wolves. That has been Michael Brown. Goodbye. Speak to you next week.
Speak to you next week.